This butter.
Julie's bike chain was squeaking, but that's no problem for Brent. He just grabbed some table butter, and now it's as good as slick as a whistle.
Did you tell him who it was inspired by?
No.
It was inspired last year by Eric's novel use of butter for his derriere.
But butter. This year I bought a leather seat, so it's not so much of an issue. You don't need it. This is where we stayed at Hotel Biencourt. It was fantastic.
Our favorite
It was clean.
hotel,
Yeah, it's our favorite.
So stylish and
Nice
beautiful.
breakfast. It was very clean, very affordable, and Azay Le Rideau is adorable. This is the chateau at Azay Le Rideau. It's a moated type chateau. I think it's more ornamental. It wasn't as much about trying to prevent the attack. I don't think there was even a drawbridge. It was just more about the gardens, which are just incredible. Here's the grand staircase going up. The main staircase. And just I really like this chateau. I like how they cut this in. Here is the truss system, which, you know, is like 300 or 400 years old. And the tile or the slate roof goes right on top of that, on sleepers. But this big long beam, which is 35 feet, and then the forces carried up to that. Pretty cool. There's another one, 2 more down there. I think this is a toilet system. It goes in here and you have these areas that drop down into the moat. And I think this is where they went to the bathroom, but I'm not sure. Here's this salamander who's spitting water on the flames. Nutrisco et extingo. So in Azay Le Rideau, this is Francois I's kingdom, and so that's why when this was built in the 1500s, it took 12 years to build. Lots of these giant, straight, tall oaks were used. Probably the remaining in the 1500s. It seems like a lot of the forests are all logged out. But the salamander is here, and that tells you that's Francois I. Like tennis, people have been playing pool for a long time, for like 400 or 500 years. Kind of surprising. They started playing tennis like 500 years ago in France too. It looks like maybe this is where, I don't know, the sink was, and this is the kitchen up here, and here's the fireplace where everything was cooked down here. Pretty cool. The Chateau of Azay Le Rideau is stunning, and it's on a diverted river, which they've kind of run into a moat. You can see the water flowing under this bridge that I'm on right now, and they kind of diverted it back here. The river comes down this way and goes under where I'm going here, but it runs around the chateau. This is probably my favorite chateau so far. I just think it's absolutely stunning. A lot of Romanesque or Renaissance type architecture, and just not too big. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The setting on the water is just fantastic. I keep looking for this bird that makes this sound, and it turns out it's frogs. It's kind of an obnoxious sound. I'm not surprised that the French decided to eat them.
Yeah, I think this is part of their program. Is it actually want you
2 or 3 centimeters. And regular, eat up, just smear it with stucco. There's the dam, kept the water level up. Little kingfisher bird type that's hovering and picking up insects. We're here at Day11, and we're going to travel down this little river valley up to Loire, and then we're going to come down here. We're going to check out this castle today, which is Ussé, Rigny Ussé, which is called the Sleeping Beauty Castle, and then we're going to continue down the Loire to Chinon. There's another castle. We're spending 2 days there. We're here at Day11, and if you do this sort of detail on the inside, we can make them like 1/4 inch thick, break them up, and then have irregular grouts. Put them on the wall. That would be easy for the kitchen to make a French interior. Here's a cute little balcony. Just about anything you want to do goes, as long as you're consistent and done by an artist. Beautiful. I really like the sandstone. That would be easy to do. I love the detail here. It's not super fancy and not super detailed, but it's just consistent. And if you have irregular pieces of stone, you just widen the grout or fill it in with grout, and it's just fine as long as it's consistent. Easy to fix too.
I've been doing it since 100. 6 bottles of beer on the wall.
6 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. Beer on the wall. Ah! Here's a really cool detail. They rounded off this corner, but it would be a little more problematic in the corners up there. But it looks really good. This is what an impromptu stop looks like. A little food, little bike maintenance. Intersection. So we're going into Cottonwoods. They're releasing their the most orderly cottonwoods in the world. And they are releasing their snow. This is a cemetery. Hey, give me a smile. She's trying to grab this flower. This is this town that they built a massive dike on. It's literally about 20 feet down to the water. I think they got tired of flooding, maybe. It's a kitty cat. Here, kitty! Ooh. And your eyes is shot. So, Cat, we understand that the last couple of days have been hard for you. Do you have any sort of thoughts on that?
Yes, it was all my mother's fault. She was doubting me the whole way. She kept yelling at me and said we needed to go on the train. But it wasn't my fault. Never is it my fault.
So there was a mechanical failure. Do you have any sort of idea what was going on the bike?
I guess the spring fell off when I crashed yesterday.
Oh, and then so what happened to the brake?
Well, I guess it was locked in there, so I couldn't go anywhere.
So the brake was stuck on, and she's been dragging and crying and whining and saying, something's wrong, I'm hurting. And then, Julie, do you want to take it over from there?
Oh. Catherine, would you like to hold our camera? So first, I proceeded to throw her under the bus to the other adults and say, ignore her. Don't reinforce this with any attention.
We were all kind of coming up with solutions. We were saying, you know, maybe the seat's low. She
Maybe
seems like she's normally
tired.
pretty strong on the bike.
She got a seat change.
So,
she got a seat adjustment.
She got some stern talking to by her parents to either I think we actually used the words "shut up," "get on the train," or "pedal," and that we did not want to hear her say one more time that it was really hard to pedal.
So we pulled, somebody heard the rubbing of the squealing of the brake as it had ground through the pedal, and it was metal on metal. And then it drew our attention where sparks were flying off the rim. And then we figured out what the problem was and we fixed it. And now we have
So she took a train?
Probably only a 10
the leader of the
ride.
peloton, the domestique cat.
Catherine's probably ridden.
Okay, so Brent buttered the chain, and we thought dogs would be attractive. We had no idea that pregnant feral cats would be licking the... It's not going to really look good on your fur, cat. I wouldn't do it.
Maybe it's just a pica thing, pregnancy thing.
They smell the butter.
See? Oh, I ripped mine. Dang it. I gotta do it from the other direction.
I'm like I rip your shorts. This is Chateau d'Ussé, and it's called the Fairy Tale Castle. It's all about rank and privilege and showing off. Most of these guys went broke building these things. It's amazing that these little valleys could support these things, but they did. It took 20 to 30 years to build. It's the European house snake. No.
How do you know?
You know why? Because if you stick your hand in its mouth, it will bite down. Because when a snake dies, poisonous snakes.
And he's developing a spaceship.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Come on, go. Look at this gorgeous French garden. The grass is perfect because no one walks on it. I stepped on it and Maggie freaked out. Told me to get off the grass. She's worried it's going to get in jail or in prison. This is what the view from the back of the pack looks like. Quite a deal. Partageons the route.
Said something.
I like how this fountain is not like spraying too much. It just kind of trickles. Here's a statue of Joan of Arc, which is very neat. It's this horse going over the top of two soldiers and kind of crushing them. It's Joan, always with a sword in one hand, flag of France in the other. The interesting thing about this, she wasn't beautified until 1903. So she was already starting to get kind of popularity. Some guy had written a report on her in the 1800s, a book. But the guy who did it was 40 when he died, and he was 38 when he did this gorgeous statue in 1893. But anyway, it's a fantastic statue.